jumping right into this thing, man. Oh man, we're starting off with Disney because there's no deaths, there's nothing crazy going on that we are going to report on. But this one is very exciting because I didn't really like the first season, but I'm actually excited about the second season because it looks really good. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about Marvel Studios freaking What If season two, which is scheduled to premiere on Disney Plus on December 22nd, with a new episode airing each day for 9 days.
That's different.
Captain Carter, voiced by Haley Atwell, Black Widow by Lake Bell, Captain America by Josh Keaton, and The Watcher by Jeffrey Wright are among the key cast members reprising their roles in season two. Now, season one did feature original MCU actors like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and of course, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, and many others. What if What if was the first ever animated show from Marvel Studios, which saw its series debut back in August of 2021. Now, the show dives into a limitless possibilities that lie in an alternate timeline of the multiverse. For example, what if Ultron from the Avengers Age of Ultron succeeded in killing the entire planet? Or what if Thor never had Loki as a brother? These are questions that are answered in this series, which sees a whole bunch of theories brought to reality. Now, previously announced at the 2022 San Diego Comic Con, season two of What If features an episode set in the medieval times, which I'm very interested about because I love dragons and shit. An episode where Shang-Chi characters are pitted against Odin and Asgardian forces, and an episode where Valkyrie and Iron Man race through the streets of the planet Sekar from Thor Ragnarok. I think that one looks pretty interesting. I mean, it was very Mario Kart esque, but like I said, I feel like a lot of the things they showed in this trailer for season two of What If made me more excited. I think there's not as much pressure on this What If series
Yeah.
this time around. I felt like at the beginning for season one there was a lot of pressure, but I think they kind of alleviated that a little bit.
No, totally. And the one I'm most excited about, because it just sounds awesome, is Shang-Chi pitted against Odin and the Asgardian boys. I mean, think about that. Shang-Chi is the dragons and all the kind of mystical oriental
Right.
stuff with the dragons against the Vikings. And, it's going to be an epic episode. I'm all in on that one. All right, we're sticking with some Marvel news right now. And this one does not surprise me. Director Destin Daniel Cretton has departed Avengers The Kang Dynasty, an upcoming superhero adventure, of course, in Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, Kang Dynasty, which is positioned as an Avengers Infinity War style pendulum team up of this current Marvel era, was recently delayed and now isn't scheduled to open until May 1st of 2026. It will, of course, be succeeded by Avengers Secret Wars on May 7th, 2027, which will conclude this stretch known as the Multiverse Saga of the long-running, interconnected franchise, which you guys know started off in Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, etc. Now, beyond its director, the state of Kang Dynasty has been subject of speculation. Jonathan Majors has already played multiple versions of the supervillain Kang on the Disney Plus series Loki and in this February's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. But as you guys know, as we've been telling you, the actor's future with Marvel has been a question mark because he's currently awaiting trial for domestic abuse charges. Now, unlike the two-part saga of 2018's Infinity War and 2019's Endgame, which were filmed and directed back-to-back by the Russos, Cretton was only hired to direct the Kang Dynasty. So now this means there's no director on board yet for Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty. Cretton, don't worry, though, isn't permanently parting ways with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He does remain on board to direct the sequel to the 2021 blockbuster Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings, of course, of which he directed the first one. And remember, we told you way back, he's currently working on the Disney Plus series Wonder Man. So the TV series for which Cretton serves as director and executive producer was shut down by the strikes, but is expected to resume its filming. Now, this one makes total sense to me from the top. I love that he's staying and that he's going to do Shang-Chi, which was a huge hit, and that he's going to stick with Wonder Man. But walking away from the Kang Dynasty makes total sense because there are rumors that we keep hearing every day that they're going to pivot and go away from the Kang storyline because of what's happening with Jonathan Majors. Well, if I'm the director on a project and I don't even know if the project I'm directing is going to be the guy that you told me it was going to be or the story, that I'm walking away for just creative differences right there. So that, I mean, that makes total sense. I mean, with a project being up in the air and you don't know if you're going to continue the storyline or not, I wouldn't want to be attached. So it just makes sense to me. Unfortunately, I do think this is where we're headed. I think that it's not going to go well for Jonathan Majors, and I think they are going to... Somebody's happy about it. Somebody is happy it's not going well for Jonathan Majors. It's always at the best times, I swear to God. But I think they have two options. Recast him and keep going, or pivot and go the other way. And since we've been seeing, and we've got some in the news today, some Fantastic Four stuff, I think the pivot is coming and we're going in the other direction. Which in my book only makes sense because if you guys know anything about Secret Wars, if you're a geek like me, Doctor Doom is the guy. So if we're headed eventually to the Secret Wars big boom ending of all this thing, it only makes sense that we just start to pivot there anyway. So
yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It really does. Because I mean, my biggest fear is, reiterizing and retelling the trash that was beforehand and the two Fantastic Fours that came before us, or that came before Marvel Studios had their imprint on it. So that's my only worry. But I mean, you brought it up. Marvel Studios Fantastic Four, which will bring one of the most well-known superhero teams in all of comic books into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is zeroing in on one of its main leads, aka Reed Richards, and Daddy himself, Pedro Pascal, is currently being eyed to play Daddy of the Fantastic Four, aka Mr. Fantastic. Of course, you all know he is a brilliant scientist who gains the ability to bend and stretch his body like rubber following the exposure to gamma rays during a scientific expedition to outer space. The role would continue Pascal's hot streak of iconic characters. His career first took off as the memorable turn as Prince Oberyn Martell on Game of Thrones. Remember when he got his eyes gouged out? And then he hit the new height when he was cast as the bounty hunter on The Mandalorian for the first Star Wars TV show and inaugural series for Disney Plus. Along with Susan Storm, casting for other two main characters in the title Correct, Susan's hot-headed brother Johnny Storm, aka Human Torch, and Reed's best friend Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, have yet to be announced. There's rumors everywhere on social media, though.
Oh yeah.
This is, of course, won't be the first glimpse of the Fantastic Four in the MCU. Of course, back in 2022, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we saw John Krasinski appear in a brief cameo as an alternate universe version of Reed Richards, before he gets ripped to shreds by Scarlet Witch.
Facts.
WandaVision director Matt Sackman will helm Fantastic Four. He took over the reins from John Watts, who directed all three Marvel and Sony Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland after Watts exited the film. Now, Fantastic Four is scheduled to open May 2nd of 2025. So that is very exciting. And I mean, we love Pedro Pascal. So, I mean, this guy has a huge slate coming out here soon in the next couple years. You got The Gladiator, the second one, you have The Last of Us, you have this one. Like, it's so crazy. Mandalorian season 4 just wrapped up. They're going into post. Like, this guy is very busy. So good for him, man. He deserves it.
Yeah, and you know what? This should put to rest the concerns that you have, because there's long been rumored that they were going to kind of go with a more non-traditional white as we see all the time, right? They're clearly, if we're going to get Vanessa Kirby and some of these rumors that they have for the casting, they are clearly going away from the stereotypical white family playing the Fantastic Four, which is good. Another thing that I read, which seems to be leaning heavily to be true, because especially if Shankman coming on because he directed WandaVision, which was an all-female led storyline, the rumor is they've been having trouble casting Reed because the actors weren't happy that apparently this version of the Fantastic Four is going to be focused on Sue and not Reed. It's going to be Sue-centric, meaning the story's all around her and they're just supporting her story. If that's true, then it's way different than any of the other Fantastic Four movies that we've seen. And it also opens the door. This is what I'm really excited about. If you're not a comic book geek, pay attention because this could be very interesting. Sue has sort of kind of had affairs, but not affairs with, or might have been in love with, but maybe not in love with, Namor and Victor Von Doom. So if it's focused on Sue, are we going there? We've already seen Namor introduced. Doom is coming. Are we going to see that she's had a past with both of these fellas? And how's Reed going to be dealing with that? If this is the storyline that they're going to go with, or at least weave that storyline in, that could be getting really juicy really fast and so far away from the kind of other stories that we've seen with the Fantastic Four, which I'm all in. If any of that is true, I am all in on that. I think it would be brilliant, especially if you get Kirby to, I mean, she's a phenomenal actress. I know everybody wants, Emily Blunt, which I'd be fine with too, but Vanessa Kirby's fantastic also, and if we're going to go that route, just saying, gonna be good.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the 3 biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching nonstop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow.